नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंदा Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. So we are reading from Canto 2, the Cosmic Manifestation, Chapter 1, the first step in God realization, text number 10. So 2:110. Tad aham the abhidhyasyami mahapurushiko bhavan yasya shraddhadatam asha syanmukunde mati satihi. Tad aham the abhidhyasyami mahapurushika bhavan yasya shraddhadatam ashu syanmukunde mati satihi. Word to word translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki Jai. Tat, that, aham, I, te, unto you, abhidhyasyami, shall recite, Mahaporoshikaha, the most sincere devotee of Lord Krishna, Bhavan, your good self, Yasya, of which, Shraddhadhatam, of one who gives full respect and attention. Asur, very soon. Syat, it so becomes. Mukunde, unto the Lord, who awards salvation. Mataji, faith. Sati, unflinching. Translation. That very Srīmad Bhāgavatam I shall recite before you because you are the most sincere devotee of Lord Krishna, one who gives full attention and respect to hearing Srīmad Bhāgavatam achieves unflinching faith in the Supreme Lord, the giver of salvation. Would anyone like to read the purport, please?
I can read, Mataji.
Sure.
Purport. Srimad Bhagavatam is recognized Vedic wisdom, and the system of receiving Vedic knowledge is called Avrohpantha, or the process of receiving transcendental knowledge through bona fide disciplic succession. For advancement of material knowledge, there is a need for personal ability and researching aptitude, but in the case of spiritual knowledge, all progress depends more or less on the mercy of the spiritual master. The spiritual master must be satisfied with the disciple. Only then is knowledge automatically manifest before the student of spiritual science. The process should not, however, be misunderstood to be something like magical feats whereby the spiritual master acts like a magician and injects spiritual knowledge into his disciple as if surcharging him with an electrical current. The bona fide spiritual master reasonably explains everything to the disciple on the authorities of Vedic wisdom. The disciple can receive such teachings not exactly intellectually, but by submissive inquiries and a service attitude. The idea is that both the spiritual master and the disciple must be bona fide. In this case, the spiritual master, Shukdev Goswami, is ready to recite exactly what he has learned from his great father, Srila Vyasdeva. And the disciple, Maharaj Parikshit, is a great devotee of Lord Krishna. A devotee of Lord Krishna is he who believes sincerely that by becoming a devotee of the Lord, one becomes fully equipped with everything spiritual. This teaching is imparted by the Lord Himself in the pages of the Bhagavad Gita, in which it is clearly described that the Lord Sri Krishna is everything, and that to surrender unto Him solely and wholly makes one the most perfectly pious man. This unflinching faith in Lord Krishna prepares one to become a student of Srimad Bhagavatam, and one who hears Srimad Bhagavatam from a devotee like Shukdev Goswami is sure to attain salvation at the end, as Maharaj Parikshit did. The professional reciter of Srimad Bhagavatam and the pseudo devotees whose faith is based on 1 week's hearing are different from Shukdev Goswami and Maharaj Parikshit. Srila Vyasdev explained Srimad Bhagavatam unto Shukdev Goswami from the very beginning of the Janmadhyasya verse, and so Shukdev Goswami also explained it to the king. Lord Krishna is described as the Mahapurush in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, in his devotional feature as Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Lord Krishna himself in his devotional attitude, descended on earth to bestow special favors upon the fallen souls of this age of Kali. There are two verses particularly suitable to offer as prayers to this Mahapurusha feature of Lord Krishna. Do you want me to recite the verse, Mataji, or continue reading?
Yes, please, if you can recite, Mataji. It will be in the Govinda Adi Purusham meter.
Yeah. Dheyam sada paribhaghinamabhistadोहम् तीर्थास्पदं शिवविरिञ्चिनुतं शरण्यं भृत्यार्तिहं प्रणतपालभवाब्धिप्रोतं वन्दे महापुरुषते चरणारविन्दम् त्यक्त्वा सुदुस्त्यजसुरेप्सितराज्यलक्ष्मीं धर्मिष्ठ वचसा यदगादरण्यं मायामृगं दयितयेऽपि शतम् अन्वधावद् वन्दे महापुरुषते चरणारविन्दम्. In other words, Purusha means the enjoyer, and Mahapurusha means the supreme enjoyer or the supreme personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. One who deserves to approach the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna is called the Mahapurushika. Anyone who hears Srimad Bhagavatam attentively from its bona fide reciter is sure to become a sincere devotee of the Lord, who is able to award liberation. There was none so attentive as Maharaj Parikshit in the matter of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, and there was none so qualified as Shukdev Goswami to recite the text of Srimad Bhagavatam. Therefore, anyone who follows in the footsteps of either the ideal reciter or the ideal hearer, Shukdev Goswami and Maharaj Parikshit respectively, will undoubtedly attain salvation like them. Maharaj Parikshit attained salvation by hearing only, and Shukdev Goswami attained salvation only by reciting. Recitation and hearing are two processes out of 9 devotional activities, and by strenuously following the principle, either in all or by parts, one can attain the absolute plane. So the complete text of Srimad Bhagavatam, beginning with the Janmadhyasya verse up to the last one in the 12th canto, was spoken by Shukdev Goswami for the attainment of salvation by Maharaj Parikshit. In the Padma Puran, it is mentioned that Gautam Muni advised Maharaj Ambarisha to hear regularly Srimad Bhagavatam as it was recited by Shukdev Goswami, and herein it is confirmed that Maharaj Ambarish heard Srimad Bhagavatam from the very beginning to the end as it was spoken by Shukdev Goswami. One who is actually interested in the Bhagavatam, therefore, must not play with it by reading or hearing a portion from here and a portion from there. One must follow in the footsteps of great kings like Maharaj Ambarish or Maharaj Parikshit and hear it from a bona fide representative of Shukdev Goswami. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Om Ajnanaatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatavaham Vande Shri Guru Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Shivam Tamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udire Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo. Pretty long purport and beautiful purport by Srila Prabhupada. So the very first line talking about this verse is talking about what is the qualification of a perfect of a person who wants to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, of a person who wants to recite Srimad Bhagavatam. And the very first line of the purport, Prabhupada mentions that about avaroha pantha. That means the path of disciplic succession or of receiving transcendental knowledge. So this path of disciplic succession is what the tradition of Bhakti Yoga follows, as opposed to the modern day education system, or for people who don't believe in any kind of shastras, any kind of Vedic literatures. For them, any subject of Bhagavad Gita or any subject of Bhagavatam is they cannot understand that, because the process that they follow is very limited, or they have an imperfect understanding of subjects of absolute truth, because the process that they follow is opposed to the avaroha pantha that Prabhupada is recommending here, which means the descending process. That means it comes from Krishna, then to Lord Brahma, Narad Muni, Vyasadeva, and so on. That is the descending process. The modern day education, they follow this ascending process, or the aroha pantha, which is opposed to avaroha pantha. And in that ascending process, or in this process of aroha pantha, it means we don't accept any spiritual authority. We don't accept any superior authority that is greater than us. We just try to find out the truth by our own endeavor, by our own speculation. There's a popular example that Prabhupada used to quote, that if someone wants to find out who their father is, they can do it through aroha pantha or avaroha pantha. Aroha pantha means that you just try to do it with your own speculation, try to do it with your own endeavor. That means you start surveying the whole male population, you start doing the research, you start doing experiments like that. Or another example could be when someone says man is mortal, then we start to research it. We start to verify that statement. That is an inductive process. While as opposed to the inductive ascending process is the avaroha pantha. That means we accept a bona fide authority. We accept authority superior to us, and we learn the truth by inquiring from that authority. So to go back to the earlier example, where when one wants to find out who their father is, the simple way is to ask their mother, their own mother. And the power of her authority in terms of reliability of this information is much greater than all the sources of evidence collected. So that is the deductive process. Similarly, when we say someone makes a statement that man is mortal, we just accept it. We do not try to experiment unnecessarily, because we just wait. We see that people around us are dying. That means, yes, man is mortal. Therefore, this process of ascending process, this aroha pantha, is, comes with its uncertainty, inaccuracy, while the scriptures, like Srimad Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, they are the perfect authority through which we acquire knowledge about absolute truth. In Shastras, in Vedic literature, there are three kinds of proofs, proof. The Sanskrit word for proof is praman. And so the three kinds of praman are pratyaksha praman. Pratyaksha praman means when we are acquiring knowledge through direct perception or through our senses. Then comes anuman praman. That means we acquire knowledge through hypothesis or inference. Then comes the shabda praman. Shabda praman is where we are acquiring knowledge, we obtain knowledge or any evidence that we obtain is based on by hearing from a bona fide authority. And amongst all these three pramans, the proofs, Shabda Praman, that means the authority of the Vedas is the highest. Why? Because that's the most authorized and it's free from any defects. And that's because it is free from any defects because it is revealing us the absolute truth. Then Prabhupada, gives here in the purport that the qualification for of a person who wants to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. In the verse itself says, Yasya Shraddhadhatam. That means Shraddha Dhanas. And Prabhupada translate this as of one who gives full respect and attention. So for one to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, the qualification is that we have to become a devotee. One has to accept the authority of Lord Sri Hari, Lord Sri Krishna. In Bhagavad Gita also we see that how like Arjun and Krishna are having conversation. Initially in the beginning they are having conversation in the on the battlefield as friends. And then Arjuna is bewildered. And then he submits to Krishna. He accepts a lower position and he says, Krishna, you are my master. You are my supreme spiritual master. Please instruct me. So unless Arjuna had accepted Krishna as authority, Krishna did not reveal any knowledge to him. So the moment Arjuna accepted Krishna as his authority, then Krishna started to reveal all the knowledge to him. In the beginning of the purport, Prabhupada is explaining how there's this importance of accepting spiritual knowledge from a bona fide spiritual master. So both the disciple and the spiritual master should be bona fide. Prabhupada used to give this analogy that for a plant to grow, both the soil and the seed should be good, should be fertile. Therefore, for us to get the result of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, we have to be qualified as a disciple. We have to, even the person who's reciting has to be qualified. And here Prabhupada gives this example that they are Sukdev Goswami and Maharaj Parikshit, they are idle. Sukdev Goswami is idle reciter and Maharaj Parikshit is idle hearer. And Prabhupada says there is these two personalities. Nobody can be compared to these two personalities because they are perfect in what they are doing. When Maharaj Parikshit is listening, he is a perfect hearer. And when Sukdev Goswami is reciting, he is the ideal reciter. And we see that how hearing is, the very basic foundation of our spiritual life, of our Krishna consciousness. We see how many examples are there in the Bhagavatam. There's always a conversation. And in the conversation, one is asking a question and the other is replying. So there is this hearing is the very basic foundation of our spiritual life. Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, the very first verse, Krishna says, Maya asakta manapartha yogam yunjan madashraya asamshayam samagramam yatha jnanas yasi tat shrinuhu. Shrinu means listen, hear. And Krishna says that, O Arjun, O Partha, son of Pritha, that now listen to me because by practicing, and how he says that by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, you will come to me and you will be free from any doubts. In the purport to this very verse from Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada quotes first 5 verses of Canto 1, chapter 2. Not the first 5, sorry, the 5 verses from Canto 1, chapter 2, where he begins this word. It's a very long purport of this chapter. From chapter 7, verse number 1, Prabhupada begins with Shinvatam Swakatha Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtana, Hide Antastu Abhatrani, Vidunoti Suhatsatam. And then in the purport, Prabhupada writes that hearing about Krishna or hearing from a bona fide source like Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, is itself a righteous activity. And when we hear about Krishna, then what happens is, when Krishna, who is dwelling in everyone's heart, Krishna is present in everyone's heart as Paramatma, he acts as a best well-wishing friend for us. And this example Rajabihari gives, that on our right, on our left, there is this mind, a mind who's a 10 feet giant, tall person, and the voice of the mind is constantly bickering, it's loud, and it's attached. While on the right is Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna's voice, our Paramatma voice, which is, he's standing in a three-bending form, and his voice is soft, his voice is pleasing, and his voice is unattached, and he's always well-wishing to us. So when we hear, from bona fide authorities, when we hear scriptures, what happens is this voice of Krishna becomes so prominent. It is always there, even though, for non-devotees also, Krishna is guiding them as Paramatma. However, when we hear about Krishna, when we are responding to Krishna's glories, when we are hearing his glories, and what happens is, this person, Krishna on the right, becomes very active in our life. And he acts as this well-wishing friend always. And then what happens is, then the devotee becomes, who is engaging in glorifying Krishna and hearing of Krishna, then what happens is, they naturally develop this love for transcendental knowledge. And as we hear more about Krishna from the Bhagavatam, about the devotees, about pure devotees, then what happens is, we become fixed in our devotional service. And when we become fixed in our devotional service, what happens is, gradually we are, it says in Nectar of Devotion that pure devotional service is Klesha Agni. That means all our anarthas are gradually disappearing. And when these impurities, when we are being eased of the impurities, when these impurities are being wiped away, then what happens is, then the candidate, the devotee, is taking his position of Shuddha Sattva. That means pure devotion, pure goodness, the mode of goodness. So therefore, this process of bhakti, the science of bhakti yoga, it actually, what it does is, it severs the hard knot of all the impurities that we have in the heart. And then it comes to the stage of asamsayam samagramam. That means we started understanding Krishna's glories. We start to come to that absolute platform. So therefore, hearing itself is giving so much benefit. And again, hearing, when we say hearing also comes, it is said that we just simply hearing, yes, of course, it's the first step of devotional service, but there is something more after hearing. So hearing is Shravanam. Then after Shravanam, Acharya has explained that after Shravanam comes Mananam. Mananam means reflection. So just, when we are just hearing, Shravanam is when something goes, like how we are hearing this class today, something goes in our one ear and comes out of the other ear. That means it's Shravanam. But then there is difference between Shravanam and Mananam. That means hearing and reflecting. So the reflecting is the next step. That means we hear subject matter which enters our one ear, from the ear hole of one ear hole, and then it doesn't come out. What it does is, it goes somewhere inside, and there, from that, whatever glories that we have heard about Krishna, whatever things that we have heard in the class, then what happens? That information doesn't come out of the ear when we are doing mananam, when we are doing reflection. Then what happens? That information stays inside, then it directs us, then it guides us, and then it protects us. It becomes our best friend. How sometimes when we hear something and we try to meditate on this, or we try to reflect on it, then how that hearing is so so powerful, so sublime, then we actually see the difference. Just plain Shravanam versus the or just plain hearing versus reflecting. How Viraj Krishna Babu was giving this example of his spiritual master, that how there is a difference between a devotee and a good devotee. That a good devotee would before, or if something that he has heard in the class, he would try to go back to that verse again and try to read it on his own as well. So that is reflection. And then then just by doing hearing and reflection, it says that is also not enough. Acharya says we have to do nidhi dhyasanam. That means dhyasana means application of the hearing, of the reflection that we have done. That means what it means is that we are applying what we are hearing, or we are applying what we are reflecting. Again, mananam is reflection, but again, when we reflect whatever we have heard, when we reflect deeply about applying it in our personal life, then that becomes nididhyasanam. That means we are actually applying that knowledge or that we heard in the class. And again, hearing, when we say hearing doesn't mean only hearing about Krishna. Hearing also means hearing about Krishna and his pure devotees. They go simultaneously, hand in hand, because from the life of pure devotees, you cannot separate Krishna, right? So when, one time when Prabhupada was giving a class on, I think on how to remember Krishna, or he was elaborately explaining the importance of remembering Krishna at the time of death. Then what happens? There's this Mataji, she asked a question. She asked a question that, Srila Prabhupada, is it okay if, thank you so much for explaining this. However, is it okay if I don't remember Krishna, however, I remember you? Will it have the same effect? Then Prabhupada closed his eyes. He paused for some time, and then he opened his eyes and he said, yes, it will have the same effect. So remembering Srila Prabhupada, remembering pure devotees, is actually as good as remembering Krishna, because Prabhupada was never separated from Krishna, not even for a moment. One of the symptoms of a person who's in bhava, or a person of pure devotees, is that they are avyartha kalatvam. That means they don't waste time doing anything else except remembering Krishna. So regardless of what is going on in their life, whatever situation they are in, happiness or distress or any situation they are in, they are always engaged in Krishna's service, glorifying Krishna. Again, in the purport, Prabhupada mentions that Krishna is the Mahapurusha, or he's the supreme enjoyer. And as part and parcel of Krishna, we also have this tendency to enjoy, because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Mamai Vamsha Jiva Loki, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. That means because being the part and parcel of Krishna, we also have this tendency to enjoy. But that tendency to enjoy is in minute quantity. However, the scripture says, Bhoktaram Yagna Tapasam. That means Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. However, because we have been, living our life against the principles for millions of births, this tendency to enjoy is so deep-rooted, and we have been acting rebelliously against the Lord for so many lifetimes that, this doesn't come naturally to us. We still we have this tendency to enjoy the material world. However, by regular hearing, as this Bhagavad, the essence of this verse is, by regular hearing, this magic of, Krishna appears in our heart. When how the verse says, Shrinvatam Swakatha Krishna, Punya Shravana Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtana, Hriday Antastu Abhadrani, Vidunoti Suhatsitam. That means any inauspicious things in our heart, by chanting Krishna's name, by hearing about Krishna, what happens is it undoubtedly purifies our heart. And then we come in the absolute platform. We come we realize our original position as the eternal servant of Krishna. It's already 7 o'clock. I had a lot to cover. However, I just want to say this, that tomorrow is Janmashtami. We all are, busy preparing for the festival. And so it's going to be everybody is busy preparing for the festival. And I was thinking, how can we prepare our heart for Krishna on this Janmashtami? It's a big festival, and Krishna willing, everything goes well, everything happens as per the plan. However, even if things don't fall in place, even as organizers, as volunteers, as performers, or as parents, as teachers, we all are involved in our services throughout the day, today and tomorrow. But we just have to keep on reminding ourselves that this whole festival, this whole setup is for the pleasure of Shri Shri Radha Giri Govardhan, that yes, there may be shortfalls. There may be times when we see, oh, things are not falling as per the plan. However, we still need to remind ourselves that this festival is for the pleasure of Shri Shri Radha Giri Govardhan Hari, and that's the goal. That should be our meditation for today, tomorrow. And again, Sunday we are celebrating the most important day. We wouldn't be celebrating Janmashtami if there was no Prabhupada for us. So if you haven't written your offering yet, please take 15 minutes of your busy schedule to write an offering for Srila Prabhupada. It's a very important day for all of us. When we write, or when we are glorifying a personality like Prabhupada, what happens is that we actually develop a relationship with Prabhupada. It's not that we enter into the temple room and there is this deity of Srila Prabhupada, this old man started this movement. But when we actually start writing, when we start glorifying Srila Prabhupada, when we express our gratitude to him, then it strengthens our relationship with Prabhupada. Like how Krishna is so, prominent in our lives. My Guru Maharaj used to say, at the time of my initiation, he said that all the acharyas along with Krishna are present in our heart. So when we are reciprocating with this relationship, then, Prabhupada also is very active in our life. So please take out time to, if you haven't written your homage yet, please take out time to write your homages. I'll stop here. If anyone has any questions, any comments, or any reflections, please unmute yourself.
Mataji, Hare Krishna, thank you for a wonderful class. This is to be reminded on all the time. Shravanam, Mananam, Nidithyasanam. I also want to just request all the devotees present, and also if you can share this information, that our dear Sri Ram Vijay Prabhu is quite critical in the hospital, and if everyone can pray for his well-being, the strength for his family, and his parents arrived last night. So please pray for the whole family, that their consciousness is maintained nicely, and the best as per Krishna's plans happen for them. So thank you very much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Stop here. We can conclude our session here. Granthraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you very much for a beautiful class. Hari Bol, everyone.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you. That was a beautiful class.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.